today we are here with two special guests. We got Matt and we got Jeff. Today we are talking kayak fishing versus bass fishing, adaptations, all that kind of jazz. If you have questions along that, hit them up, ask them down below. Little bit about yourselves first. Matt, I'll start with you. How long have you been kayak fishing?
I think I got my first kayak probably about 7 years ago. Got the same kayak still.
Nice.
That was the main reason. It's just a small investment, no upkeep, no money, no reason to keep upgrading kayaks. It still works.
Electronics on it or no
I
electronics?
got a 7-inch Helix that is all wired up. Got the mount on there, but honestly, 90% of the time I don't even put it on there. I run the motor, kayak, go fishing.
Nice.
I don't worry about the electronics for the most part.
So mainly you're just going out to have fun, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
Sweet.
That's what it's all about.
What about you?
I started up about the same time as Matt did. I think I got mine just before he did. Going out fishing for the same reason. It was a way to be able to be in control of my craft, and it's more peaceful, quiet, and a lot cheaper. You know?
Yeah.
That's it for me. Cheaper. No upkeep.
Yeah. So I mean that's definitely right. Like kayaks are always everybody's like entry point to get into it. So did you guys start with kayaks first or boats first?
Nope, I definitely started on a boat first, and then ended up not having the ability to be on a boat, and then jumped to the kayak and saw the differences between the two, and now I do both.
Nice. And then you were.
Yeah, pretty much. I had a John boat when I was younger, just a little like 12-foot flat bottom John boat, trolling around on the back. And then it's been basically stepping up from there. I think my buddy Sean had a little V bottom we would borrow from his dad, and we take that out and we moved up from there.
Nice.
And then now I got the kayak and I jump on anybody else's boat I can get on to.
Go travel some water.
What's happening, John? John Kirkland says, "Hey."
What up,
What's
John?
going on, John?
So both of you guys started on boats, and then you switched to kayaks. What was like? What was the first like? How when you first started doing kayaks? What was your guys' like impression of it? Were you like, "Oh, this is nice," or "Why do people do this?"
No, 100%. Like, oh, this is nice. Like, it was a way to escape not having a boat and having to fish from the shoreline. So you don't have to have the money to afford a boat. You don't have to have the space, garage space or yard space to store your boat. You know, a little kayak, and you can get on the water and get to the places the boats can get to. And it was just a simple way to get out.
Same thing for you. You said you had it, or did you already have
What
your?
up, Jeff?
Yeah.
What's up, Brian?
No, I had to do
Savin
it.
Metlock, Savin Getty.
Hey, what's up, guys?
You didn't have your champion then, right?
No, not at the time.
Okay.
But for me, I mean, I'm on the same boat as Matt. You know, we get to get out there and you enjoy it. There's a love-hate relationship for sure, in the fact that you know you're out there, like he said, you can get to water that you can't get to when you're on the bank. But at the same time, once you've been on a boat and you get to travel and really find the fish that you're looking for, there's a different level to it. So there's moments where I'm happy and content with it, and there's moments where I'm like, hey, this isn't the business. Plus, the work that could be involved if your electronics go out, you know, your motor, you're paddling, you're in the delta, you're against current. There's some downfalls for sure, but it's really, I think overall, it's enjoyable. Obviously, I've been doing it for 7 years, so.
And I didn't ask that. Do you have a motor on yours?
I do. I
Your
just
mo-
have a little Minn Kota, I think 70 pounds at this, maybe 30. No, it's only 30. It's an old school one. I cut the handle off and rewired it down to a box so I can control. It's a little handmade transom on the back and controls with the foot pedals.
Oh, that's cool. Well,
It's
and
way
you?
cool.
Mine was custom made as well. I think mine's only 18 pounds. It was the only one that could fit inside of the sonar pod that I have in the middle of my hull.
That's cool.
And then same thing.
Yeah, it's good
pedals.
little cool, your little hand thing, just right in your lap, pretty much.
Yeah,
Secondary.
I think that's the one cool thing about kayak fishing is that there's a lot of ingenuity when it comes to it. Like you run across people, even like the higher up people in kayak world, in tournament kayak world, I should say, and they all have some sort of like homemade-ish kind of thing where they,
Yeah.
yeah, they're like, oh, hey, I come up with this, and then all of a sudden you see it on like the rest of their kayaks and stuff, and it's like this great idea.
Yeah,
100%.
that stuff is really cool to see. The only thing that it's kind of like an AR platform though. Some of these guys have every accessory known to man. And It's
Yeah.
like, hey, there's a level to this.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many accessories you have, you still have to make them work.
That's right. That's right.
It's true with all fishing though.
That's true.
So what's your guys's, like, what's your range on those? Like, how far can you get, or how far do you fish from where you launch?
Oh,
Him and I took a trip one time where we had fresh batteries, and I think it was 3.5 miles one way, so 7 miles.
yeah, it was we
Was-
traveled a long way that
And
day.
that was against current, half of it.
You can feel the motor slowing down at the end of that day.
Yeah,
Nice.
Still works.
But yeah, getting used to the learning curve of, you know, in a kayak, it is better to have shorter poles at times, you know. And
Yeah, so, yeah, I was gonna say, what's your technology advancements to that, right? Like, so A, you're not able to carry as much tackle, right?
True.
Compared to a boat.
I mean, that's.
But are you, if you were to fish on a boat versus fishing on a kayak, are you fishing the same rods or different rods?
I'm fishing the same rods. I have. They're bass fishing rods. They go back and forth.
I've got 3 or 4 rods that are a little bit shorter, just because you're lower to the water. So for me, it's easier to skip, sling them under stuff. And then if we're getting into the thickest stuff where you can't get in a boat, sometimes your rods will get hung up onto the timber. So
Hey, what's happening, Marlon?
there's some things with getting a shorter rod for sure.
Yeah.
I have the shorter rod as well, but it goes with me on the boat too. It's a great rod.
Fair enough.
Crappie Closet checking in with Marlon. Kurgan says that he had a fun time fishing with Matt in the last club tournament. You guys did just
I did.
Yeah.
We did all right too. It was a good time. I
both
had a great time as
both
well.
John and Matt are both fun to fish with. So
Matter of fact, I think I lost some Senkos during that trip. I think they got handed
they're
up to you at some
they're
point.
here. They're hidden somewhere.
That's his magic,
It's
everybody.
based on his performance during the video. He may or may not get his Senkos back. So basically, you're using the same rods. You're doing that. How do you know what rods to bring? Is it like when you're a co-angler, you're like, I'm only gonna bring 5 rods? Like, how are you just kind of playing the season, or do you have like grab bag rods where this throws this 6 baits, that throws this 6 baits?
So that's usually how it starts. But if it's been that we've been frequently going to a body of water and have figured a pattern or how the fish are behaving, then obviously from there it gets dialed in a lot better. But yeah, I have a couple rods. I've got 3 that I can throw quite a few different baits on, just so that if I need to change it up, I can.
Yeah, you can mix it up.
Yeah.
I won't even lie. Most of the time, I got 7 or 8. I think I got 8 spots on my kayak. I'll usually rig up 8 lures, and if one of those isn't working, I'm probably not going to change. Even though I bring the tackle to change and have a box with everything I might want to fish, and I usually won't even change.
7
I'll
hours
make
later,
one of
the
those-
frog's still
I'll make
going.
one of
What's
those
up,
baits
bro?
work.
Yeah, I got a boat with 20 something rods in it, and I do the same damn thing.
It's easy to do, but I'll tell you, with what you said on the tackle, the amount of tackle you can put in your kayak, if you can't figure out a bite with that amount of tackle, then you
Yeah,
know.
it's. I would think as long as you keep it to the seasonal things, right? Like
True.
you're not. I would say bringing a glide bait in the winter, but that does work too. But you know, you're not bringing the oddball stuff out there. Like you're not punching in a storm day or something like that.
No,
Yeah,
and
definitely not.
I've got 2 kayaks. I've got a sit-in that I like to use. It's lightweight, but I'll never ever attempt to punch. And I'll force a frog bite or some top water every once in a while, but it's not like the sit on tops where you have better ergonomics with it,
Yeah.
for sure.
Speaking of, hold on, Getsy's got a question. Do you prefer center motor or rear motor? You're saying yours is rear and
yeah.
yours is center?
I'll speak on that because it's a little embarrassing for this guy, honestly, because we go fishing a lot together, and I have the rear motor with it's controlled by my feet on the pedals, and I have zero issues. The kayak goes where I want it to go. I can hit reverse, in and out, it goes where I want it to go. And I watch him with his center motor. It works fine going forward, but when he's trying to turn, he'll turn that motor, and his kayak will just not go the way that motor is pointing, and it's comedic
Just gotta
sometimes.
drop a
is.
paddle and turn. Just-
It's
or
one of
put a
those.
hand out and turn.
Honestly, what it is my kayak tracks like crap. And so to sit there and get it to turn on a dime like him, it doesn't do it at all. And then, like he said, I've got to sit there and put one pedal to kick my rudder to one side. I got to turn the motor just to get the damn thing to make it turn.
But is there so I know the design of the hull itself changes whether it tracks better or if
Yeah,
it's more stable
for sure.
or if it's all this other stuff. Like, so there's probably something your kayak does different if it doesn't have the track that it does better somewhere else. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would probably say
His a little faster than mine.
Yeah.
It cuts straight lines faster.
and then
Sounds like my
stability.
style.
Yeah, but I would not get a feel free anybody if I was you.
Not feel free.
I'll say the same thing. I have a Brooklyn kayak company, the BKC 11, I think they call it, and it's one of your lower end kayaks as far as the market goes. I think I got it for $700 when I got it, and it's a phenomenal kayak. I have nothing bad to say about it.
Nope.
But I've ridden in his feel free, and I'll choose this $700 Brooklyn Kayak Company over
For
that
sure.
one for sure.
I would
Nice.
say though that
Just
Old
for-
Town baby, Old Town.
Are you guys standing up on them or only
Oh, yeah.
sitting down?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely standing up.
I rarely stand up, but I can. I'm a big guy. I don't want to risk jumping 6 rods in the water because I wanted to stand up and look at something.
We'll save the dumping 6 rods questions for later. Jeff Matlock asks,
What's up,
what
Jeff?
are your go-to must-have baits when you're always on a kayak?
That was a good question.
Where you go to? Let's say
That
let's
what body
break this.
of water?
Let's break this into bodies of water.
Yeah,
we'll do the
okay.
big 3 for NorCal, right?
Okay.
Delta. What's your go-to baits?
What, how many? Just 2 go-tos?
I don't know how many you bringing.
How
How many do you have to have
I'll-
in your boat when you're leaving?
Chatterbait, a Senko on a shaky head likely, and some type of top water, depending on how I'm feeling. If it's going to be a popper, a frog, or a spook.
And you're not afraid. You're not afraid to crack them. Like, let's say it is a frog. You're not afraid to just jack them on that
Oh,
thing.
no. No,
Are you standing
that's-
up throwing those things? Or?
That's one of the funnest things is when you get a tank or a striper that hits you and you get pulled around with a wake behind you and you're just going past
yeah.
your buddy laughing while he's just getting towed. It's
Well,
awesome.
as it's a what is that? The whale movie where he's got him harpooned and he's rolling around on the thing.
Like Jaws, just
Yeah.
dragging you around.
What about you? What's your go-tos?
A lot of the same there, honestly. Chatterbait is almost always tied on. Texas rig, weightless Senko, or the tiny travel rig. I know you've talked about it before. That's always tied up. And then same thing, I usually bring the frog to the Delta always. White or black tied on, and a white or black in the box to be able to switch.
He's not gonna change, but he has the other one
That's
just in
damn
case.
true.
It's so true. It's so true, though.
I do the same thing too. I throw the same deck the whole day, and then I get back and people are like, "Oh yeah, I caught him on white." And I'm like, "Dang it, I threw black all day."
I looked at that all day.
That's pretty much it.
Very
The
innocent.
flipping rig comes with me with just a little creature bait on there almost every time, too.
Yeah.
What's up, Elau? He says,
Oh, what?
"Yo, yiggity, yo."
Yo, yo, yo.
Good old Elau now. Barriessa, what's your go-to?
I would probably go with a jig, a chopo, and an underspin. Would probably be my top 3.
No drop shot.
That's my. I know it works. I try not to use it as much as possible.
That's my. So it's your version of Ned rig for me.
Perfect. I don't even know what a Ned rig is.
I just caught a fish on Ned rig
I
on
do-
my new Malones video that came out a couple hours ago, just to prove I could do it.
If you have a kayak and you haven't thrown a Ned rig, then what are you doing with your life? Finesse fishing and kayaking goes well together.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
you can set your rod down and paddle a little bit and then pick it back up again.
Or try to get your kayak to turn if you're me yelling like, "What's going on here?"
Throw
Oh,
the
fish.
crankbait back there. Start
Go
paddling.
left, go left. Berryessa.
Berryessa though, number one drop shot. I'm do my best not to throw it, but I'm not going to Berryessa without a drop shot. Another finesse rod. It's either gonna have a Ned rig on it, or it's gonna have a little grub with a 1/4 ounce star head. Those two are coming with me every time, and then the Senko, same thing, and either a little swim bait or an A rig. Depending on the time of year, it'll change whether or not it's going to be one of those two.
I'm surprised you said anything about the bro.
The 3-inch curly tail.
It's a good little bait when it's hard. It works everywhere.
Yeah, it does. Nobody throws it to you.
Everyone's
It's-
just forgotten
it's-
about. I actually caught one on a tube last time I was out Sunday, which was my first tube fish because I had the same thought. Like nobody throws tubes anymore. Let me
Yeah.
give it a go.
And the people who do just got mad at you for mentioning it. For
Yeah,
both
cool.
of them, the girl
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, Clear Lake, and that'll get to Getsy's question here that he asked. That's in the comment. Clear Lake go-to rods. What you got?
Go-to rods.
What's the rods you can't push off of Clear Lake without having?
I definitely have to have a medium heavy rod with some tip to it. And I would probably say that my other one's gonna have to be a broomstick of some sort, so I'm able to yank some fish out of the slop.
And what baits you throwing on them bad boys?
It would likely be, oh man, I don't want to say it, but a dark sleeper is a good one. And then the other thing I would say would be, your frogs or your jigs and stuff like that.
Good best part about it is you have to know how to work dark sleeper.
And that's true. This
Not
is true.
everybody
This
can
is true.
get that dark sleeper to work.
But if you
I'm
get
one
it
of them that
going,
can't
it
get
is
to work.
the business.
I've watched him rip it out of the back of the boat, one after the other.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the right bait.
What you going with?
Honestly, the one go-to for Clear Lake for me is the Senko. That's no matter what time of year it is, I'm bringing a Senko with me. Everything else can change with the time of year. As
Yeah,
far
you're
as swim
adding
baits or
weights,
A
taking
rigs or
weights
top
out.
water. Yep.
Yeah.
Just Texas rig, same thing. Time and child rig or weightless, and I'll fish that all year round at Clear Lake. And it always can get a bite. Almost always.
Yeah. So, since we're talking about Clear Lake, have you guys fished tournaments on Clear Lake?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we actually.
What's your stories from that? Because there's a couple stories from
So-
that. Are you guys willing to share those?
Yeah, I'll start with
Yeah.
mine because mine isn't as cool as his.
I mean, one could beg the difference.
I mean, they're kind of even with each other. They're cool for different reasons.
So the last tournament we did at Clear Lake was a native Big Bass Power Hour.
Yeah.
And went out there and I couldn't get a bite for the life of me for the first 3 hours. I thought that I had a prime location for fish in the bite window. I decided I was going to go into an area that was a little harder to get to and see if I could flip some fish. And I ended up flipping myself.
I was gonna say, you said flip fish, right?
Oh yeah.
You just got it backwards. The fish flipped you instead of you flipping the fish.
100%, and it was ice on the kayak. It was cold as heck, and I was miserable. I lost my graphs and my transducer.
Oh.
I lost a rod, and went
How
back.
deep was that water?
Where I was in was about 8-10 feet, but there was laydowns
How
of
many
trees,
rods?
so I was able to walk up some laydowns of trees to get on my kayak, which made it a little bit better.
Which,
But,
which
it's,
means it's probably about 3 foot right now.
Yeah, probably that's about right. That's
I
about
got
right.
my waterlogged graph out of the water.
Yeah, it might be a little waterlogged. Just put in some rice for a little while, it's fine.
So I ended up leaving, going and changing, and the two guys that I went with, Matt being one of them, they were all having the same kind of thing. The bite window wasn't as productive as
I
we
actually
wanted.
got pushed out of the spot I launched at by the wind. I couldn't hang. I'd go back to launch. I drove across the lake over the north side and relaunched, try and get out of the wind.
Is this open launch or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
open launch.
open-
Any
public
open launch
launch.
on the lake.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, open launch, they can launch it wherever they want, as long as they get back to a certain point to check in. Or you can't fish after X time. Your pictures have to be in by a certain time, and then you have to check in at somewhere at the end, or is
No,
it
No,
not?
you
everything
don't have
is-
to really.
Everything
check
is
in.
GPS
Oh,
through an
yeah.
application, so the photos
Okay.
are check in and your check out, so that they can see that you're actually on the body of water you're supposed
Yeah,
to be on.
if you do have to pull out and relaunch like I did, you gotta get to the launch ramp. You gotta check out, move spots, and check back in wherever you relaunch your kayak.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So he ended up coming out with the other guy towards my area, and we all caught a couple fish. His being a little bit better than the rest of ours.
Yeah. What's your story?
I got one good fish on the day, one fish only actually, and it was textbook stuff. There was a isolated tree, probably about 30 yards off the shoreline, and it had a nice big Y in it. So I hooked, I think it was a 4.8 Kayak on underspin. I hooked it through the middle of that tree, past it, let it sink, pulled it right through the Y of that tree, and it got crushed as soon as it came through the tree. And I don't remember how big the bass was. I think it was a 23 incher, 23 and a half, 23 and a quarter, somewhere around there. But it got me a big bass for that hour at the power hour.
That's cool.
It got me $1,000 cash and a $250 lithium battery gift card for Dakota Lithium.
That's cool.
Yeah, I did not expect that. It was a good time.
Yeah, no,
You
that
get that-
definitely
very nice.
pays. That definitely pays the weekend.
Yeah, you get
It
that
paid
phone
for
call.
dinner,
Hey,
that's
make
for
sure you
sure.
come to the awards.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you get your free prize, and now you're buying raffle prizes and stuff like that.
Yeah. More money to spend, that's for sure.
But the funny thing was, the next day we absolutely slammed him. We went back out
Yeah.
there and slammed him.
That was wild. Yeah, we went to the opposite side of the lake though. We fished
We
there.
went to Redbud instead, and yeah.
Yeah, had a great day before we left.
I do know that weekend was tough. There was a lot of people that had troubles catching fish that weekend.
Yeah, I had two underscoreable fish that day. It was not a good one.
Someone I got a double digit in that.
Yep,
tournament.
on an underspin. Won himself like 9,500 in prizes.
And a kayak, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I haven't cracked double digit. Have you guys? Have you
I
cracked
have
double?
not. I have not.
Oh, yeah.
7.6 I
Nope.
think is my best.
Nice.
I'm trying to get out of the 8, almost 9 pound range. If I can get up there, I'll be happy. But
It never
I'm
ends.
losing faith on the double digits.
Yeah.
It is Clear Lake right now is probably, and Berryessa in like a year is probably gonna be really good at having a chance at double digit.
I think the class of fish at Berryessa are going to get really good next year.
Yeah, those like
They're eating good. That's for
4
sure.
pounders are very solid right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years ago when
They're-
it was just
they're
nothing but one
There's a lot of them
pounders.
out there.
You know.
I'm catching 1
Yeah.
pound bluegill out there now.
So is there any other like adaptations? Like, okay, so you're not changing rods, or you're changing a little bit of rods.
Mhm.
Is there any like strategy to it? Like, so for instance, you're saying like the longest part you can run is like 3 miles, right? Or
Sure.
3 or 4 miles, somewhere in there. So now you're choosing, what's your strategy? Are you choosing where you launch to be within range?
Yeah,
or are you
100%.
figuring out how to tear apart the water that you're in to get the best bites out of it? Or
Frankly,
what?
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like Berryessa, you've only got so many launches, or you're hiking down a mountain cliff, which I have done, which was kind of cool.
That was really cool.
Where you're winching it back up?
Yeah, 100%.
That's
I have like 3/4 plywood, got a winch on it. You drive, park your tire on it, winch the kayak up the hill. 100. We had to build it so we could launch at a certain time of year a few years ago. 2 years ago, I think about this time. It was
Well, only
One of the
people
better
on the
times I've
water.
had on that lake for sure.
Oh, it was
I will
awesome.
definitely say that that was probably the best move to be on that lake or any body of water during that time, and to be able to be stealth enough with a kayak.
Oh yeah.
Kind of jealous.
We
About
made
Oh, yeah.
2 trips, I think it was 2 or 3 trips, and it was lights out
Every time.
Yeah.
every time, all day.
And it was weird too, because you could throw so many different things and still get bit. It felt like you were fishing the delta.
Yeah, they were chilling in the shallows, like just nobody messed with them. It was great.
Isn't it crazy what fishing pressure can do?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it really
look at
is.
the Japanese
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, well, that's where a lot of our techniques are coming from.
Yeah.
So,
But back to like choosing your spot though, no matter what, I think the cool part about being in a kayak is you are stuck to that location wherever you are, so it forces you to slow down
And break
and
down.
pick everything apart. So you find a lot of stuff that you might not find if you were just trolling by on a boat, because
Very
you may
true.
have to go back and forth several times on a bank that you found fish or structure or whatever. And it really helps you find those spots within the spots, like they always say.
100%.
and you're kind of along that same lines, basically.
100%. I think it's due to the fact that you're stealthy, you're a little bit more quiet. You don't have your motor pulsating when you're on it, you know.
I on the stealth thing, I remember too that when our first trip, I think, out on kayaks, we launched out of Pleasure Cove, and we were both cruising through the grass, all the shallow grass, just looking around, fishing, and I cruised right up on top of a bass, like it was right by my side, and it didn't see me until I saw it and it took off. But I cruised right up on top of it.
I've
I
had
had no idea.
been in a little aluminum boat, and like I was with my brother and all that, and the like wind blew us into this cove, and as it blew us into the cove, I like looked down and there was a 6-pounder, an 8-pounder, a 5-pounder, and I was like, oh, and we're there for skiing, like we're like messing around, we're not even like I don't even have a fishing rod or anything, and I'm just like ah.
They know you don't have a rod.
Now I look back at it and I was like, I really wish I knew what time of the year it was, what like all that information that I wish I paid attention to that
Right,
day.
you didn't know you were supposed to pay attention to back then.
Yeah, like I
learned a
fished
lot
back
once
then,
you
I
started
just
doing it.
I didn't pay attention. I didn't know as much.
Yeah, it transforms from just going fishing to noticing all those key things that
Well, the
repeat
fish
themselves.
behaviors that you could watch that they do around you too is kind of fun. You can tell if a bass is more active, ready to go, or you
Yeah.
know, okay, cool, I'll come back in 10 minutes, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, just their body language and being able to know.
Yep.
Where was I gonna go with that? There was something I was gonna go
Fish
with
body language. I'm sure there was somewhere you're heading.
that. No, it was before that. Oh, have you guys ever gotten stuck somewhere from wind wise?
No, him and I have done some of the most outrageous trips and kayaks. We've been out in 40-mile-per-hour winds in our kayaks for some stupid reason, hidden behind levee walls.
That's the beautiful thing about the kayak is you can go out in the small craft advisories on the delta blowing 20 miles an hour, and you get below those levees in the small channels and the wind goes away.
Just don't cast overhead or you're
Yeah.
see ya.
We did get one of those times out 2 years ago. This time we did get stuck out up Pewter Creek, and the wind kicked up, so we had to make that trip across the opening of the Pewter Creek Bridge right there.
Oh,
And the wind got choppy right there, and I took on a lot of water. I had to go to the shoreline and dump my kayak and then keep going.
Yeah,
So you have
that's
to sit
crazy.
in then?
I had to sit on top.
Sit on
But
top?
basically, it leaked water. It got into the on top part and leaked into one of my compartments.
Oh,
Started filling up the bottom.
So you're taking waves.
Yeah,
Definitely taking
they
waves.
were timed perfectly to just hit the gun right as I was rolling down the last one. They were getting me good.
How about when we went to
Sean paid the rod tax that trip. He was out with us, lost his rod
that's
coming
right.
across
That's
that.
right.
We've all paid the rod tax. I'm
That's
sure
it.
anyone out there watching sees this. You fish on a kayak, you've paid the rod tax.
Yep.
Everyone's lost a rod.
So how many rods have you lost?
2. I lost one.
I've only lost one. We actually got one of his back. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So, what happened was I ended up going and I caught on a tree with my line and it just pulled it and did one of these like little slingshots
Oh yeah,
and shot it out of the.
It was
And we both looked at each other, and I had bought the reel like 3 days earlier. And I was just like, what the heck? And so we went out the next day. Was it the next day or 2 days later?
I don't know if it was days or even a week later.
It was shortly
sometime-
after.
Yeah, sometime shortly after.
And we're cruising down, and it was one of those king tides, but it was low tide. And we hit the corner, and all of a sudden, this guy with the keen eye goes, "Hey, what is that?" And we look on the bank, and in all this garbage, there's my rod. sitting
What
there.
is this, like a little 4-foot section of like smooth mud bank and all this mess, and there's the rod just sitting there.
Just glowing like
Yeah.
you see in the
Hey,
movies.
I
100%.
legitimately, he asked me to do it, and I sat there and I cast it out, and it's just all gunky, you know, and a fish on, and I'm over here fighting it.
Meant to be.
That's it. That's it.
That's awesome.
I have only lost one rod.
I flipped twice. I don't even. You haven't done
It
that.
was the green mock
Crush.
blues. I went and
Yeah.
bought another one like the day after. It's been a solid rod to me. I couldn't let it go.
Nice. So what's? So you said something about Sean lost a rod, and that was in those same waves.
Yeah, that was at Barry up there in those waves.
Yeah. And that was his only time being on a kayak, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he made it out twice
Oh, that's
during
right,
that
he did.
time, but
He
yeah,
did.
that was it.
I've
He
got a.
risked it for that kind of fishing. Otherwise,
Yeah, I
he's
don't blame him on
he's
that
like,
one.
I ain't doing it.
Yeah, I don't blame him on that one. I would have risked it for it if I had the options. I didn't find out about it until afterwards. So I've done kayak fishing once, and it was a sit inside or whatever, like a sit in one. I don't know what you guys call them.
Like a little
It
river
was like a
looking
little
kayak.
like 10-foot. It's actually Steven's kayak.
Okay.
It's a sit inside one, and it was a pain in the butt to like at the delta. So you got like the current, the wind, casting, but that's like a cheap Walmart one, so it doesn't have like it doesn't track very
You're
well.
just floating there,
I had so much troubles, and I had actually been debating at the time. That was before I bought my nitro. If I was gonna buy another boat or switch to the kayak world, and that one day that was on there, I couldn't do it.
yeah. You have to take my kayak for a spin.
I'd have to be in a real kayak.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say a real one, because I caught a fish with it, and it got me on the river, and it was a really fun day, but I did legit spend the whole day wondering when I'm gonna flip, not if I'm gonna flip.
Yeah,
I
with-
didn't.
With no rudder and yeah, just us. Yeah, probably.
You just
Yeah, it was paddle
paddling
only.
all day.
Yeah.
I ended up my sit-in. I had the same problem, right, where I don't have a motor on it, so you're at the bay of the current and the wind and all that, and so positioning was very difficult. So I ended up getting a anchor on like a system that you could straddle on one side of your boat.
Yeah, it was a little
So that you
3.5 pound anchor.
You can lock it in a position where when you're on the current drifted, you can position your boat at an angle that benefits you the best you can. And that's a little helpful, but if you're gonna really want to get out there, you can get a platform for pretty cheap that, you know, is gonna have some stability that you could have a motor on and have more control with it. Nowadays, you know, you see they've got the spot lock that's available, and Hobie's got
Yeah,
the
there's
awesome.
some. What was? I don't remember who it was. I was watching one of the YouTube videos, and the guy had like an Ultrex on the front, or something on the front, and then he had like a Torpedo on the back, and I was like, dude, if you turn both of those on, how fast could you go? Like,
can you do circles? Or
yeah, what?
just spin around
At
on
the
the top.
Tokyo
tournament
drifted
we were at-
around.
At the tournament we were at, one of the guys had it set up, and he was going 11 miles per hour on his kayak.
Oh, that's jamming.
That's jamming. Yeah. I'm like
There's gotta
4 on
be.
a good day.
There's gotta be somebody complaining about that one. That's for sure.
Wait,
I'll
write something?
I'll never rock the trolling motor on the front of the kayak. Like I get my line caught on like the little burrs of plastic on the nose of the kayak. I get my line caught on that constantly. There's a motor there that's chopping my line.
Yeah, I
Getting
would say
tangled up
middle
every
or
time.
rear is the way.
I don't know how those guys pull it off.
Interesting. They gotta be like either just spot locked or.
Or standing up the whole time.
Yeah. Now I was thinking about it. I was trying to think. I think the guy is standing the whole time.
That's the only way you keep your line out of that shit.
Yeah, and the-
Sorry,
the-
sorry, kids.
the part. So here's one of my questions. So every year, more and more kayaks. This might not be for you guys. This is just in general. More every year, I see like the newest, greatest kayak come out, and I swear it is the same as a 1970s bass boat. Where it's like, oh look, now we have under storage here, and we have lids here, and we have this, and I'm like,
That's kind of funny. I
you
never
guys
thought
are
about
kind
that
of
one.
recreating the 70s bass boats. Like,
I think it's due to the fact of it's it's in early stages where they're trying to fine tune things and have new talking points and
They're
stuff
just
like
trying
that.
to push us all into buying that $120,000 bass boat.
so what's, do you guys have a dream kayak? Where you'd be like, if money was no object, that's what I would buy.
I mean, the Old Town Autopilot would be probably one that I would want to get at this moment, but next year it's gonna be probably something different.
100%. I probably wouldn't change much, honestly, because for me, it's about being able to pick my kayak up and throw it on my shoulder and carry it down to the water if I want to. And
Be able to
Not
fish
one-
it
most
remote.
of these newer kayaks are 100 pounds dry
Plus.
with nothing on it, and I'm not throwing that up on my shoulder and carrying it up a hill
It's got
or
wheels.
throwing it in the back. Yeah, it's just.
Some
I
of the
want
places
that
we go
accessibility.
to
I want to be able
remote.
to drag it up a hill if I need to, or throw it in the back of my truck. Like, if it's got to go on a trailer, I might as well get a
The
boat.
boat, that's right.
Yeah.
There's a reason for a kayak, and it's for accessibility and to be cheap, frugal, for
Nice.
sure.
Gets asked, what electronics do you guys run? You guys started out a little bit in the beginning, but they might not have been live on yet.
I have a 7-inch Helix that is mounted on my kayak. It's got the
2D
through
side
hole.
scan.
It's got 2D down scan and the map chip, which is what I mainly use it for. I take it out on the lakes, but maybe 80-90% of the time I don't use it. I just leave it off. I go fishing. I know the areas I'm fishing well enough to just go fishing. If I'm somewhere new or I'm checking out somewhere new on a lake I frequent, I'll put the graph on there. I don't think I've ever taken it out to the Delta.
No,
Yeah,
not
you
once
don't
have I as
really
well.
need graph on the Delta. And what electronics do you have?
I
Do you
had
have
a
any on?
I had a 5. Now I've got a Helix 9.
Oh, that's right. You donated it.
The Helix 9 is the same setup as him with the 2D.
Force the upgrade.
I definitely.
Yeah, I'm actually now that I think about this, did you intentionally lose your graph?
No. If I,
I mean,
had,
isn't that attached to the boat? Now it just falls off when you flip over.
yeah, some stuff
Conveniently
happened.
upgrades
Some
to
stuff
a
happened.
It was like a over the gunnel type.
Yeah, it was custom. It was tweaker. But no, if I had that
Job
ability,
done.
buddy, I'd have side scan because that is an essential thing on a kayak.
Yeah.
Be out there with Ford scan on my $700 kayak, and $3,000 graph.
Right. Out there scoping them up.
Oh no, we were
No spotlight, just drifted.
we're seeing people with 360 live scope, you know what I mean, on their stuff, a power pole, like they're dialed in. Some of these guys really.
I wouldn't mind
Attitude
putting the power pole. I might spring for that one time.
Is that a manual thing?
No,
Electronic
it's
thing?
electronic.
Some you can make manual, but
Just like a single spike?
Yep, little single spike. You can set like the power so it doesn't raise your kayak up out of the water.
yeah.
They're a cool thing though. Stop your kayak instead of like now I gotta use the motor back and forth or just
Or drop
Paddle.
an anchor or
set the paddle on my lap and be cool to just anchor up real quick. I have the anchor too, but
You guys both have anchors that you run?
Yeah,
that gets used about as much as the graph.
we've definitely went through a huge learning curve on what we thought we needed, but what we actually really need to succeed fishing in a kayak.
I did actually I had to cut my anchor, or unclip my anchor one time in the Delta.
Yep.
We were anchored up just like in front of a rock wall and an inch your way into a flat, and the current picked up and I didn't pay no attention to it. And ultimately it got so strong that it started pulling my kayak sideways, so I just unclipped and it's got the styrofoam wall on it.
Float,
Just-
yeah.
I couldn't. It was stuck where it was because the current was yanking me against it.
Yeah,
and I
that's
couldn't
flip
rip it out.
territory.
Yeah, so I just unhooked it, and I actually had to wait until low tide before I could get back to the rope floating.
You're like, I'll be back.
Yeah.
You hope it's a short tide change and not a long tide change.
Oh man.
And so be wary of that.
Swim School says these guys definitely have more money in these yaks than I do in my 16-foot John boat, motor and trailer. Yeah,
Most of these
there's-
guys, I guarantee it, not us.
there's definitely some people that you run across and they're like, oh yeah, I got 4 kayaks and this one has all this electronics and this one has that and this is my original one that I just take for flats and it's still got like a bunch of stuff on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys mentioned
But do they
learning
have a-
curve. Yeah, are you fishing? That's all that really matters. Whatever makes you happy is exactly what you want. I really can't talk crap because I have 2 forward skins on my boat. So.
They're
You should see the hump on the back of the neck right now.
Yeah. The scope neck is really getting me. So what are the things, like you guys said something about learning curve, right? Where you're like, we bought all this stuff, thought we really needed it. In your style of fishing, what's your go-to, like, or what's your, this is what I needed? What do you pack it?
Oh, I've got on like a expedited trip. I have one box that is labeled my kayak box. It's got a miscellaneous baits that are my go-tos that I have. I've got my couple rods. I've got my water, my snack, maybe my AirPods so I can listen to something while I'm fishing, and just start breaking down the water. It's just a mind game at that point. Just keep you going. Just try to keep it basic.
So no anchor, no electronics.
If I don't have to, no way, because then I could just drop in and go, and it's less stressful, and I seem to do all right, enough so that it doesn't bother me.
Just keep it simple. I think that's a lot of the appeal to it is that it is so simple.
Yeah,
like,
that's,
When you have
you're not. I need to drive to this ramp. I gotta pay fees. I gotta do. I mean, you're depending on where you launch because you could still be paying fees and stuff like that. But you're loading it in the bed of your truck and driving away, not the rest.
And when you have a boat, it makes it that much easier to be simplistic on the kayak, because when you're out in the boat, you've got everything. You've got all your tools,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and you spin out.
yep.
Burn $120 worth of gas in a 6-hour tournament, in a
Spinning
frog
it.
tournament. Not that I would know.
Spinning out happens on kayaks too.
Yeah.
you just,
Not often,
You're
but
just
still.
stuck in the same spot.
Yeah.
Spinning.
I need to go elsewhere.
For you, or are you just
The
taking the
lowdown?
same kind of the basic kind of stuff, or like?
I think he's more thorough.
The load, yeah, I got the anchor stays on the kayak always. Got a little seat pad, it's nice. But baits, it'll have a single box like he does, and that goes back and forth between the kayak and my boat bag when I'm a co-angler. And it's a little thin box, a little small one, and I've got so much stuff crammed in there. There's got to be like
You gotta like
it's
sit
over.
on it.
It's
to-
100%, yeah, you got to smash it to close it. There's like 3 spinner baits in there, 4 chatter baits. There's a jig rig setup, a flipping setup. I've got extra EWG hooks, the tiny child weights. So all of those baits, like the chatter bait, the flipping rig, all those are set up with baits already. It's really like just a good
Time
emergency
to
box.
go.
If I can grab one box and go, it's there. And then there's that box, and then another box the same size, a little small one, a little thicker, and it's just chock full of top waters. Just
Priorities.
buzz
Yep.
baits, poppers, wake baits, any top water I think that I might ever want is in that little box. I can grab those 2 boxes and go.
So you're only bringing like 1 or 2 colors then.
Or 4, yeah.
4 of those.
Yeah, usually
like,
4, and then when you lose the one that's the
Yeah.
hot one, you're like, damn it.
Yeah. And then there's that bag of Senkos, which you have. You can show it off if you want.
it's
a
literally
giant
a
bag of
gallon
Senkos, and
Ziploc that's completely stuffed with
that
Simcoe.
goes everywhere with me. Oh,
That weighs like 300 pounds. When
So-
Brian handed it to me, he's like, "Oh yeah, hey, give this to Matt." I was like, "It's a little heavy."
yeah. And sometimes like there'll be another bag just with like some beavers or some creature baits or some little swimmies that need to come along because I know it's gonna work. You know.
Awesome. So now versus like in a boat, how much more tackle do you bring in when you go on a boat?
You've felt my tackle box.
Yeah.
I think it's got to weigh at least 70 pounds, but it's about yay big. It's got 6, or it's got 4, what are they, 3500s, and then 2 of the fat 3500s full of soft baits. You got terminal tackle, and there's 2 more of the 3400s on the side, and 2 more skinny 3400s on the front, and it's one of those Plano guide series, I think it is.
Yeah, that's it.
And the thing is packed full of everything I think I might ever need. And then if I want to swap a box out, which I've probably got, like
The leftover,
20,
yeah.
20 other 3,500 boxes sitting in a drawer with different baits. If I want to throw the Kayak out and throw some swim baits in there, or some frogs or topwaters, and just swap boxes out.
Yeah,
That's what I do for like the same thing for the boat wise is all like I get back from Delta, and instead of changing my boxes over, I just pop that box out, put it over there, and grab the Berryessa stuff and throw the Berryessa
Yeah.
stuff in.
I'm on the same page. I do the same thing.
How much stuff are you bringing if you're
On the
boating?
boat, probably 5 times as much tackle for sure. I've got the same setup as him. Mine's loaded up to a T, and
His probably weighs about a third of mine.
I was gonna say no. I saw how heavy he gets it. I'm about halfway to him, but I like to close my box. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm pretty
It
sure.
closes great.
I'm pretty sure if you took your box plus your box, it doesn't weigh Brian's box.
The
Brian's
duffel bag.
box is a tank. That thing slows down the boat, that's for sure.
Leaning one way.
it's a different thing. You've got a lot more water you can go after. You feel like you could, like you said, spin your wheels. You could have a lot of tackle sitting on the deck at the end of the day on a boat.
Yeah, and you still throw the same 5 baits that you would have thrown if you
Oh,
were in a
different. I
kayak.
throw a different bait every 30 seconds. That's this guy.
You're getting better. Captain switcher bait, for sure.
Should have snap swivels on everything.
Yeah, there's definitely. What was it? We fished Malones together.
Yeah.
John's picked it up, he knows. The tackle bag.
He's like, I still got a hernia, guys.
And apparently, swim school is. I'm pretty sure he says I got one of those too. I think he's talking about your Cinco bags. I'm gonna guess it's a Cinco bag.
Right.
I think everybody has a Cinco bag. I think I'm probably the most simple Cinco guy. I throw one color.
That's it.
I throw watermelon slice. That's it. And
And
I
that's a
usually
5-incher. You don't throw 6-inchers?
that's on a 5-inch. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I just like the color.
They should make that in a bigger size.
Yes,
It's a good
they
color.
should.
If they made that in a bigger color, or I would throw it in 6.
I feel the same way about Houdini. That's the only bait I throw in a 5-inch.
What is the other
I
one?
can't buy
Monster
it
guys?
in a bigger one.
Or monster?
Monster Shad, yes,
Monster
they don't
Shad.
make it anymore in the
Yeah.
6-inch, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, monster shad they make in.
They're making them in 5-inch and a bunch of other baits. I've probably got about 25 bags of those Monster Shad 6-inchers when I heard they stopped making them.
The other what's the shad bait?
The shad shape worm?
Shad shape worm. They have monster bass in that one.
Yeah, yep.
Or monster shad.
And it's
Monster
funny
Shad,
on the
yeah.
Monster Shad, like if you buy the 4-inchers, they're upside down. You got dark on the bottom and light on the top. If you buy the
Yeah.
5-inchers, they're the right way. They got dark on top and light on bottom.
Yeah.
Don't know why they do that.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
probably
it's
got
like-
10 colors I go through on Senkos. Not as many as some people, but
Yeah, I'm way more simple than that. But then again, most of the time I'm not throwing a Cinco until it's like, okay, they're not eating anything else. Like but that's part of the being able to be boater versus backseater or
True.
that is.
Yeah, that's fair. Probably why I lean on the Senko so much.
Yeah,
for the
Mike.
backseater.
My co-angler's throwing more colors than that. I'm just throwing one when it comes to it.
Like if it works, it works. If
Yeah.
not, it will.
What when it comes to co-angler stuff, or I guess is your boat running or not running?
no, I still got to repower my motor.
Still got to repower. Just buy a brand new one.
I was looking at it.
Don't worry about your wife. Just Buy a used.
Happy wife,
The joy
happy
you'll get
life.
out of it would be extremely worth it.
Yeah, just tell her you
When
take
she's
her.
mad, bye.
You'll take her skiing. You'll take her a day out on the water, soak up the sun.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Get the rugrats out of her hair.
Yep. Little man likes fishing now. Got him going on it. So
Yeah.
we're getting there.
And you got the best part. You have access to a boat, but you don't have to own it.
Yes, that's kind of there.
Yeah, when your roommate has a boat,
We're
which just got going again.
actually taking it out tomorrow morning.
Keep breaking in the motor.
He's breaking in a brand new motor. Should be a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so much gas money.
Yep.
At least,
I'll let you know tomorrow. He's got less than an eighth of tank in both sides, and we're gonna fill it all the way up.
I'm not jealous of that.
And we're gonna
Not
go
at
through
all.
most of it again, just trying to put hours on that motor.
Yeah, at least gas is down.
A little
A
Two.
little
a
bit.
couple months
Yeah, it
ago.
cost me $80 now to fill up my tank.
It's
Getting a little better.
so sad.
I thought I was gonna break $100 there for a minute. I didn't get up that high.
Yeah, my parents are paying under, it's like $2.57 or something a gallon in Tennessee.
They probably don't have all that road work going on.
Yeah, you know. I don't want to get too far.
No, no. Let's stop that now. FJB.
Any other notable things with kayak? Is there any? So like, what's your mind frame like? What's the most notable difference about when you're going in a kayak versus when you're going in a boat? Like, what's your?
I would say that when I am in a boat, my focus and anxiety is definitely up at a different level than it is in the kayak. The kayak is a lot more just relaxed. And I think it's because you're stuck in an area that you have to break down, usually, a smaller area. When you're in the boat, you're over there, you're just trying to figure it out. And most of the time when I'm in the boat, I'm doing a tournament.
Right, and you can be in a
Yeah.
hurry on a boat.
Yeah.
You can try to move past all these spots quickly because you have that option.
Yep.
In a kayak, you can't. You got to relax and slow down and fish slow, even if you're throwing fast baits.
Yeah.
Like
Agreed.
I got on a buzzbait bite on the Delta, and like that's a really fast bait, but I can't turn my trolling motor on 4 and just go. You roll with the current nice and slow and make 5 times as many casts in an area you might from a boat. And sometimes it works out. Sometimes it's just a lot of extra casts.
There's lots of
It's
keep you
always
busy in
just-
between
yeah.
them.
It's always just way more relaxed. You don't have any other option but to relax and go slow.
And the other thing I could think of too is I don't know about him or yourself, but my biggest fish in the Delta have usually come in a foot or less of water.
Yeah.
And to be in the kayak and get through some of these areas,
Yeah, we found some cool spots in the Delta where like it's a waterway that's 3 feet wide for miles through marshlands, and
you
know,
find
we didn't go
open
that far,
pockets
but
and
you see
fish all in
gin
there.
clear water running through these channels that you can't get to in a boat, and bass swimming around. It's pretty neat.
So you're actually seeing them in the
Oh, yeah,
water.
we-
So you're
oh, yeah.
able to sneak up on them and be
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yep,
that's kind of cool.
that happens a
That
lot.
was way cool.
It's like being, you know how it is when you're out in the clear water in your boat and you look down, you just like an ecosystem below you.
Yeah,
That's like some of the coolest things about that in the kayak.
yeah.
I tell you though, one thing that'll scare the crap out of you for your first time going out to the Delta, watch out for them sea lions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's your? So I was just gonna ask, what's your most scary moment? What's the most like edgy moment? Either one of you guys have one?
I went out. Yours is in the bay.
Yeah,
It's gotta
it
be.
was crazy.
No, we
Can't
sat
go to the
there
water no more.
and I went out at night and was fishing. It was newer times of me being in the Delta. My light ended up dying on me, and it was pitch black, and I'm cruising back, and out of nowhere, about 3 feet from me, I just had a tail slap that was loud as heck.
Like a
Yeah.
beaver
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
or-
and I sat there and jumped through my skin, and I turned over to the side, and I got a big sea lion off to the side that's rolling next to me on the other side, and I'm like, what just happened?
Now I know what it feels like to be with Jaws.
Run.
We
I
went
don't
out
know.
to
I don't
the-
know about that
We
one.
went out underneath the Bay Bridge, and he was taking water in. He had a leak that was going on, and we had marked some really big things out there for sure. We had a bunch
Yeah,
of
I had my Helix on for that one.
yeah.
We were out underneath the Bay Bridge off of Treasure Island, and yeah, it was just some big stuff swimming around. We had sea lions messing with us.
Going into the cove,
Oh,
into the
heck
corner.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pop up over there 5 feet away and disappear, and pop up on the other side 10 feet away, just looking at you like, what are you doing out here?
Oh, that's good.
That was the one and only trip in the
Out
big
there,
water.
yeah.
No more. I'm good. There's stuff out there that can eat me. I don't need to catch a fish for that.
Yeah, I'll go in a boat.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love it.
For kayak.
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I do it the kayak.
I'll go fish from the shore on Treasure Island before I take a kayak out there again.
Yeah.
I may run a line out if I needed to, right? Like go drop a line over the edge.
I just
Heart thumping.
because I'm thinking about like there's times where just like drifting, you're ripping so fast in a boat drifting that like you can't even keep your bait on the ground. Like imagine if you're in a kayak, like I mean I guess if you have an electric motor it wouldn't be as bad, but
But
Yeah, with that it's
That's-
back trolling, right? You're slowing
Yeah.
yourself down the best you can to
yeah, you just
maintain
have to
your strike
like
zone.
hope that you can get behind the island and wait for the tide to switch and get back.
yeah.
Well, this was a learning curve for me is, like in the Delta, sometimes the fish are current related. And so in a kayak, sometimes you hit a corner and you're just cruising at the pace of the current, and then all of a sudden you're picking up fish. And I started to key into that, like, wait a second, right now these fish are current related, and that's helped me just being on a kayak, seeing that where I probably wouldn't have in a boat.
Kind of an interesting like perspective side of it. To be able to like look at it from a different angle. I got one last question for you guys.
Shoot from the hip.
What is the best advice? Doesn't have to be fishing related, but what's the best advice you were ever told
Ever told?
that you were ever told that is Brian weighs in.
Mm-hmm.
He says boats are way better, and he's asking or seeing that my S waiver is missing a tail.
I need some proof that you've ever been on a kayak.
Brian from Hawaii, by the way. In the
Oh,
comment
yeah.
section
Yeah. He's
from
in
Hawaii
He's in a canoe right now. What's up, guys?
Someone
Yeah,
else is paddling.
with coconut shells on him.
Enjoy the luau, buddy.
Yeah, right. Enjoy not being in. Hopefully not. I don't know. It's not supposed to hurricane. I think it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I think it passed it.
Oh, it looks like some beautiful weather to me.
So
Yeah.
advice in just across
Best
the board?
advice across the board that you've ever got from anyone. Doesn't have to be fishing related. It could be. It doesn't have to be. What's the best advice you got from someone? Either one of you guys. We're both answering, but one of you guys got to jump on it.
I got you. So I got two of them, and I learned one in like middle school and one in high school, and it's applied to my life across everything. I don't know if we could, because it can be related to fishing. And like my math teacher once told me, there's no such thing as a perfect circle. So it's either a circle or it's not a circle. So if you're gonna, and I like how it's related to me and how he explained it, like whatever you're gonna do in your life, just do it so it's right, so it's a circle. Like don't half do it and oh it's good enough. Like it's either right or it's wrong. Essentially for me. So like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right.
That's
And
cool.
that one's kind of
That's a good one.
guided my life. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then the wood shop teacher just taught us finesse, which is actually helped a lot in fishing and it's just in life in general. Just slow down, don't force it. If it ain't working, don't force it. Just
Yeah, if it's meant to be, it'll work out.
exactly right.
Those are some good
And it
ones.
was just a one word lesson, finesse, and it stuck with me.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how like little things you pick up from random people and it'll be like things that
I don't
register in.
drink, but a pineapple margarita sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that's what.
Oh, he's on those frou-frous. All right. Don't forget the umbrella.
No, Brian's probably drinking apple teenies. And Brian comments, "It's just a chicken house." That's definitely that's a story for another day. That's what's your advice that you ever got? What stands out to you?
I would probably go to being talked to about extreme ownership. You could only take on what you can create. To sit there and just take on your ownership will get you a lot further than worrying about others and all the in between things.
Nice. Book. I don't know. Oh, first chicken house one. Yeah,
Chicken
that's a
House
long
is a
story.
book.
I'll let.
Publish it.
We're gonna let Brian's dad explain the chicken house story. I think that goes.
Oh, there you go. We can hear a couple
Yeah.
stories.
We're gonna get Brian's dad on Strait Legends,
Yeah.
and
I like that. I'll
we're
watch
gonna
that
ask
one.
him the chicken
I'll
house
make
story.
sure I watch
'cause
that one.
I think his dad tells that story a little bit better.
He's a great storyteller.
Puts a little more flair into that
That's
one.
right. That's right.
Marlon
Yes,
says
sir.
there's no such thing as can't. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Definitely a good one.
I choose won't a lot. I'll say that.
Yeah. But yeah, great advice, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys weighing in on the kayak world. It's definitely a different world from bass fishing,
For
and
sure.
well, I don't know much about it. Brian doesn't know much about it, so we figured to get you guys in here on this.
Well, thank you for having
Yeah.
us.
That was, been a
Thanks,
fun,
you too.
fun time.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for today. Thanks to these guys. Gives you great content with a lot more laughs.
Nice. Thanks guys
Um,
for the comments. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's been fun.
That was
Appreciate the comments. Appreciate all the likes that are on there. Power perceived is power achieved, is what Get says. Some good advice.
I like
it.
I like it.
We could start a little podcast on just this alone. Look at us go.
Yeah.
Fisherman's
Fish-
advice.
Fishing advice.
Most important one, don't get married, boys.
Yeah, because then you have to lose a 5-inch graph just to replace it with a 9-inch.
Fishing
You
shuts
gotta lie
down a
to
lot.
somebody.
Hey, Paul. All right, guys, that is it for today. Next week's video that is coming out should be Tulloch, Pedro. I'm not sure, but I'm going down in that area. I'm staying in Turlock and fishing a couple of the bodies of water down there. Hopefully, Steven, my guide, can put me on some fish and we can talk a little bit and have some videos for next week. And I believe we're back to another live next week. Don't know what the topic is. If you have any suggestions for the topic, comment them down below. Hit me up on Instagram. If you have any questions, do the same thing. Comment down below. Hit me up on Instagram. And until next time, I hope you get them. Hold on. Don't talk. I gotta run.
It's running.
Still
Oh
active. Still active.
What a time.